What if I could have a conversation with anyone? What does that unlock?
Yeah.
And can I upload the knowledge that I have and let the world know that I am open and available to sharing in whatever capacity someone might want to get in touch with me? The opportunity that I see that exists in Pakistan is, 200 million youth are graduating every year.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that the education system leaves out is mentorship, is a relationship with industry, is an opportunity to explore your social intelligence, your emotional intelligence, to hyper connect you globally, to develop your global awareness.
In Pakistan, there's like a severe depth of career counseling as well. So what happens is, like, even if you become a doctor, what pathways are available to you aren't necessarily clear.
Yes.
Because there's always that option of going to the States or, to the UK or Australia or Dubai or whatever. But all of these require, a certain examination, certain requirements that they are. So a lot of people don't know it.
Yep.
And the information is not, how should I put it? It's not that organized.
When you have a conversation with someone and you intimately connect, you intellectually connect, you socially connect, there's just 100 doors behind that.
Yeah.
So it gives you currency to other pathways with that person that didn't even exist before. When you have a really deep and meaningful conversation with someone, people invite you into their homes. They invite you to travel to their country. They open doors for you. And so I walked away from this little experiment with a global network where I could travel to multiple countries and call someone and feel comfortable enough to be like, I'm coming over.
Yeah.
We're going to have dinner together.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy, what is this worth?
Yeah.
I've met so many people in my life who have mentored hundreds of people. And I'm like, but you can't show that.
Yeah, there's no, yeah. True.
You deserve an Olympic medal, and yet I can't see it. It just doesn't exist. So I'm like, please do it through the platform so that we can all count it collectively, because what we count, we measure. And why don't we as a community make some really big goals?
Yeah.
So my name is Maxine. I am the CEO and founder of a company called PickMyBrain. I'm on a mission to facilitate 10 million conversations between the world's people every month and unlock the knowledge and creator economy, the next version of what is coming. Why I'm in Pakistan, someone booked a call with me on PickMyBrain.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an incredible conversation. And that conversation led to multiple follow-ups. And that person just slowly, over the course of interacting and brainstorming, suggested that bringing PickMyBrain to a country like Pakistan could unlock a ton of impact and opportunity. Yeah. And I never, I hadn't considered up until that point bringing it into a developing country. And the more he kind of expressed and shared about Pakistan, 60% of the population under the age of 30, fifth largest country, huge freelancing growing, lots of freelancers, digitization is happening here. I was like, and he had offered to support me, bring me there for a month and super connect me. So I don't say no to opportunities like that.
Yeah.
And so I said, let's do it. Let's come. And it's been a month so far, and I can't even believe the number of doors it has opened up for forever.
So, what is PickMyBrain? If you would allow me to pick your brain, what is it all about? What does the platform look like? And what are the sort of opportunities that Pakistanis can get from there?
So PickMyBrain is a global knowledge sharing marketplace. So you can imagine, an Amazon, it's like Amazon size marketplace, but instead of products, there are people from all around the world that you can book for things like calls or virtual coffees, mentorships, sessions. And the idea is what if I could have a conversation with anyone? What does that unlock?
Yeah.
And can I upload the knowledge that I have and let the world know that I am open and available to sharing in whatever capacity someone might want to get in touch with me? The opportunity that I see that exists in Pakistan is, 200 million youth are graduating every year. I think that one of the things that the education system leaves out is mentorship, is a relationship with industry, is an opportunity to explore your social intelligence, your emotional intelligence, to hyper connect you globally, to develop your global awareness. So PickMyBrain offers anyone who's a lifelong learner, who loves to meet people, who loves to cross-pollinate with different people, the opportunity and access to directly talk to anyone from a CEO to an artist to a teacher to a politician to a lawyer, anyone you can imagine. Everyone on PickMyBrain has opted in to letting you know that they're there to share their knowledge. No question is off limits. So you can just browse this database of people. And I always say that if you just simply commit to meeting one stranger a month and becoming inquisitive about their life, you will change your life.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's really what it is.
So that's just great. I mean, let's talk about the journey to PickMyBrain first. So like, how was it like getting people onto the platform? Were people open to such an idea? So if you're creating a marketplace, it's basically the demand side or the supply side. I'm sure that in your case, their demand is something that you would create, but the supply side would have been much harder to bring, because I don't know if people would be really willing to give up their time and talk to some random stranger on the internet. So how was that like?
Yeah, I would actually say that the supply was the easier side. Turns out that almost everyone, if you ask them if they are open to passing their knowledge back down with certain requirements and constraints, like, are you willing to give 10 hours of your time a year to support anyone who might want to ask you questions? I would say, I have not had someone say no yet.
Okay.
So I started actually, building a marketplace, super challenging, because you gotta onboard one side, the other side, and you gotta make sure it's in match and in unison. So I started by first onboarding myself and testing and validating that people do indeed want to talk to someone that is just a startup founder from Vancouver. I'm not anyone special. And so the first offer I launched to validate that was called A Coffee and Conversation with a Startup Founder. And I said, for anyone who wants to talk about the future of work, the future of education, and any ideas they may have. And I actually charged $50 for it. And I was like, okay, let's see.
Let's
just see. 60 people from around the world booked and paid me for a coffee and conversation within 3 months.
That's great.
I was shocked. And it wasn't the $3,000 that I had made. It was the people that were able to formally enter my life because that offer existed. And it was the value of those relationships and how they changed my life that suggested I was onto something. To give you a few examples, the first person that booked me ended up becoming my first employee. The second person that booked me ended up writing my first $50,000 check.
Nice.
The third person that booked me, I fell in love with.
Oh, wow.
So it turns out conversations can lead to chemistry. And then I had these 57 other people from around the world who I deeply connected with, and realized at the end, when you have a really deep and meaningful conversation with someone, people invite you into their homes. They invite you to travel to their country. They open doors for you. And so I walked away from this little experiment with a global network where I could travel to multiple countries and call someone and feel comfortable enough to be like, I'm coming over. We're going to have dinner together. And I was like, holy, what is this worth? And so then I started imagining, like, what if I could have a conversation with, like, go for coffee and conversation with anyone in the world? Every time I traveled, what if, like, when I came to Pakistan, I could have a coffee and conversation with a teacher, with a podcast host, with an entrepreneur, and be like, tell me about your perspective. Tell me about your country. Tell me about your beliefs, what that would unlock. And so, I really was like, okay, this is something. And so I started inviting the 100 smartest people, not even the smartest, the most interesting people, to be like, do you want to offer coffee and conversations? Look what I did. You can do the same. And started packaging and pricing knowledge in that form. And once you start packaging one offer, you can package any kind of offer. So we got really creative and started unlocking all these offers. And then those 100 people invited 500. And then those 500 people invited 1,000. And before you knew it, we were in 88 countries of people voluntarily signing up to package, price, and share their knowledge globally. Yeah. And all those individuals, when they share their platform, they actually invite the demand.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, I had to lean on them to bring the demand. And now that we have 1,000 people and growing, I can be like, hello world.
Yeah.
Do you want to subscribe to this platform that gives you access to meet these people on a certain frequency? So now we're focused on, okay, let's start generating predictable demand. And we're doing that with an offer called Meet the World's People. Okay. And I don't know if you know about Audible. Have you ever used Audible?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So you pay like $15 a month, you get a credit, and you can use that credit to go get any book. Meet the World's People is going to be very similar. You pay $15 a month, you get a credit, and you can go have a conversation with anyone. So in selling that, we will be and gifting it, we will be able to predictably create demand for the growing pool of supply that we have. So it's been this like back and forth. And now actually, so flash forward to today, we have all these communities and universities who also want to build knowledge marketplaces for their world.
Yeah.
So for example, a university, we're going to the university and be like, I don't know about you, but I got my master's in economics and walked out with this master's degree and no network to any economists. Yeah. I was like, what do economists do? I don't even know. I have no idea. And yet the university had this directory of alum, which is why I went to the university, but they didn't connect me.
Yeah.
And so now I'm going full circle back and being like, listen, university, you got to step up your game. It's time.
Yeah.
80% of students are asking for mentorship and you have it. You just got to organize it. So we're saying, why don't you ask all of your alumni to gift 10 hours of their time? And why don't you give your students unlimited access to mentorship? And even beyond that, why don't you make it a requirement for them to graduate? Give them extra credit for talking to industry professionals. So they would bring the demand and supply. It's a total match. So that's where we're trending right now. We're like, okay, let's build marketplaces for all these different communities.
That's great. So how are you going to integrate all of these marketplaces into PickMyBrain?
Yeah, good question. So I imagine it like Amazon, they started with books and then they added appliances and then they added clothes. So in Slack, you have your different channels. PickMyBrain's marketplace will be a series of marketplaces that you can drop into. So for example, we're onboarding the world's Olympians right now. So you'll be able to go click and go browse an Olympian. If the university chooses to be an open network, you can be open or closed, and you could go browse any university's alum and book.
Nice.
We want to onboard the world's PhDs. That could be another cut of the category. Indigenous elders we're onboarding. So on the left-hand side, just like on Amazon, you search through categories. On PickMyBrain, you'll be able to search through these categories. So it's still part of one system, but each marketplace will have their own little goals and group.
No, that sounds so amazing. I'm so excited. When we were talking on WhatsApp, I told you I was looking for something because a lot of people in Pakistan reach out, not a lot, but I started 6 months ago, and people reach out to me for all sort of different things, help me set up my podcast or teach me how to do a podcast or how do you put things on Fiverr? Although I don't know it because I did a podcast with someone who was, so they thought I was the one who, So, and I was like, I really did, till that time, I didn't really know I could monetize this. Or, and also I was helping out everyone for free, and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. If someone is asking a question, you can't me. Give me $10.
Totally.
So, but now, since I've sort of discovered the platform, I'm really hoping that I get on there or whatever. So it's, I think, something that's really needed. And in Pakistan, there's a severe depth of career counseling as well. So what happens is even if you become a doctor, what pathways are available to you aren't necessarily clear.
Yes.
Because there's always that option of going to the States or, to the UK or Australia or Dubai or whatever. But all of these require, a certain examination, certain requirements that they are. So a lot of people don't know it.
Yep.
And the information is not, how should I put it? It's not that organized. But if you talk to a mentor, they've been through it. They'll tell you if you ask them, give me like a step-by-step plan.
Yeah.
So I think the use cases are tremendous.
Totally.
Of your platform.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for that. So what do you think about conversations as a currency?
Yeah.
That's the main topic why we're here. What's your thought on that?
Yeah. Really quickly before I jump into that, because that's a whole world, just extending to being a podcast host. You are a podcast host.
Yeah.
You host experts.
Yeah.
I think every medium, whether it's a podcast, a book, or a magazine, at the end, can I talk to the guest?
Yeah.
At the end of every podcast, think of if I was listening to a podcast and I'm like jamming out on it. And at the end, there's this offer.
Yeah.
Did you know you could talk to this expert?
Yeah.
They're offering coffee and conversations. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
A limited supply. Okay, cool. I'm jumping on it. So I think podcast hosts are going to be my next partner. Because they find
the demand.
Yeah. 100%. And then, like you said, too, navigating different countries, navigating different processes, having someone that's been there and done that. 1 30-minute conversation, and I'll leapfrog into why I think it's a new currency, can save you unlimited.
So true.
And this is when I was like, what is the value of a conversation? I'm an economist, so I love to put a price on everything. I love to monetize the unquantifiable. And I'm like, I still, after 5 years of working on this, I'm like, it's like, one conversation got me to Pakistan. What is the value of that?
Yeah.
I can't quantify it.
Yeah.
So 30 minutes with someone is actually, I want people to realize the value, right? It is a currency. And so, conversation is a currency. I believe in a world where, right on PickMyBrain, I just reached my 1,000th conversation, and I was so proud. And I was like, as the CEO of PickMyBrain, I was like, someone should send me an award.
Self-awarding. Here's my medal.
Yeah, exactly. I got to start a club. For the 1,000 club. And just like YouTube, you hit at the 100,000 views and YouTube sends you an award. I was like, PickMyBrain's got to do this.
Yeah.
And I was reflecting on that milestone and what it had led me, what doors it had opened up, what perspective it gave me. And I was like, man, I really feel like this milestone is more valuable than my master's.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I was ever to have to apply to a job, which now that I've done PickMyBrain, I'll never have to apply to a job.
Hopefully.
I have too many conversations. I just won't. It's just too much. I've networked too far. I would never.
Yeah.
It seems like the most inefficient thing to submit a resume somewhere. I'll just, but if I was to go and apply to a job, or someone was to apply to a job at PickMyBrain, if they were able to show me that they've had thousands of conversations with people from all around the world, you better believe that person has more value.
Yeah.
For me, just similarly as you having a podcast or a YouTube channel, I'm like, hey, this person has gone above and beyond to create content, to add value, to connect.
Yeah.
So I feel like because PickMyBrain, we focus on tracking it, right? You get to keep track of how many people you book and how many people have booked you. We want to motivate and incentivize and reward and applaud people who do both. Yeah. I've met so many people in my life who have mentored hundreds of people, and I'm like, but you can't show that.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah,
you deserve an Olympic medal, and yet I can't see it. It just doesn't exist. So I'm like, please do it through the platform, so that we can all count it collectively, because what we count, we measure. And why don't we as a community make some really big goals? Yeah. Why can't, right? I said I want to facilitate 10 million conversations between the world's people. Well, if someone does 1,000, they've just contributed to that mission. They have it tracked. If we all kind of jump on the board, we can do that pretty quickly. Yeah. But it's also this currency in that. Like I was saying before we started the podcast, when you have a conversation with someone and you intimately connect, you intellectually connect, you socially connect, there's just 100 doors behind that.
Yeah.
So it gives you currency to other pathways with that person that didn't even exist before. Like I said, the second conversation I booked when I first launched my first offer resulted in a $50,000 check. The third one resulted in a relationship that filled my soul. That's currency.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if we buy and sell and trade in conversations later in life, but this is like how I'm valuing this. So I'm like starting to communicate this new language of it's not, just I really want people to understand how precious sitting with someone one-on-one is. Yeah, what you can get if you're really inquisitive and your school, right? You're teaching these kids how to think outside the box, how to dive in like to someone's mind and all the paths that they walked. And man, there's just so many gems.
Yeah. So the thing I think with conversations, I think it's also very efficient. You see a lot of these online courses and MOOCs and whatnot.
Yes.
But like the overall completion rate is about 5%.
Yeah.
Which just shows that even though you have the best of universities and, content creators and whatnot selling all of these courses, people don't, necessarily complete them. Why? Because everyone's journey is so unique.
Yes.
This is just my opinion. I haven't done research, but like everyone's journey is so unique. There's some places you just want to ask a question from an expert, right? And like for example, if you're doing coding and you're new, you're young, and you're stuck somewhere, if you have access to like, I'll pay like $20, I get this person's brain for like 30 minutes, and I'll ask very specific questions. This is where I'm stuck in. What should I do and all of that. And if that person is able to help you out, those $20 are worth, years of, maybe like months of your own research. So I just think, even in terms of like the blowing of the influencer market or the creator market, I think all of these are conversations. Like, so if you're essentially spending your time watching their content, and then without even talking to them, you have this relation. Like when it comes to podcasters as well, or just YouTube channels, everyone hasn't really talked to MK PhD or Mr. Beast or whatever, but they still have that connection. But like this is more human, right?
Yes.
Having that conversation, telling about yourself, and also like displaying what your skills are. I think it's just absolutely brilliant what you're doing. What's the stickiness of the platform like? Are people reusing it, or are you just looking for new customers?
Yeah. First of all, really good points about online education and the completion rate of online courses. Yeah, 5% is astonishing. And I think the two go hand in hand. I think that completion rate would go so much higher if throughout the course I could engage in some dialogue.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that come through too, that cohort-based learning coming back. But yeah, I think right, there's different mediums of which to learn, right? We're all neurodivergent learners, and you can learn via video, you can learn via podcast, you can learn reading. And now I'm just introducing a new medium. Learn through conversation. And it's always the combination of all of those that will allow your brain, to really fire and to make knowledge the most accessible, right? We used to pass down knowledge orally forever.
Forever. For sure.
Right. And so it's nothing new. It's just bringing it back again in an era where we got so attached to, short-term video and scaling online courses globally. But yeah, can we bring it back to that human experience? Like you get energy and you get vibrations and you get vibe through conversation. So the stickiness of the platform. So I have this theory where in my next raise, I would like to gift the entire world 3 conversations. Okay. So I put 3 credits in their account. I'm like, go feel it.
Nice.
Because I believe, like most products, you got to feel it to get addicted a little bit, to feel, to experience it, to get it in your body. So if I am able to raise the funds I need to afford that go to market scale, yeah, which I think, you know what,
it's not that absurd.
It's not.
It's like Kareem or Uber giving away free rides or something.
Right? Yeah, they can do it.
Yeah.
Right. And rides is a great, right? Rides is one media, like one way to provide value. So it's just talking to someone.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, when people discover the platform and the variety. Okay, so one thing I love is that I ask people, who do you want to talk to? Okay, and they'll name, like they'll think, and I love watching them like think about, who they might be able to talk about. And then I show them the database. And I'm like, okay, pick whoever you want. And they pick people that they can't even think of.
Yeah.
Like, one of the last conversations I had was with this woman on Pick My Brain, and her title, I always watch the new brains that come in and I am like addicted, obviously.
Yeah.
But her title was Witnessed the Egyptian Revolution in 2010. And I was like, okay, I know nothing about the Egyptian Revolution. Yeah. I know what's happening in Iran right now. Yeah. This is a woman who lived that one. I'm going to ask her what it was like to live through that. Had you asked me if I ever wanted to have a conversation with someone from Egypt about a revolution, I'd never be able to ever communicate that. Yeah. So our job at Pick My Brain is to market, creatively showcase these brains that you didn't even know you wanted to have a conversation with, or that you could, right? It's kind of like a human library. And there's a company called Human Library, but it's like taking a book out on absolutely any topic. Yeah. And that's what I want to encourage people to do. Yes, you can definitely dive in when you have a specific need. And that's probably how it'll start. Like I came in here, I was like, look at this podcast setup, please help me. Right? I was like, I want. Yeah. But once I kind of come in there, I also want to inspire people and convince them that the more, if they just, again, meet 12 strangers a year and put some interesting things around it, like meet another person from another country, talk to someone from a different industry, make sure you connect with the older generation and the younger generation. And I create a playlist. Okay. So Spotify has playlists. I have playlists for my online education.
Top teens in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it.
Yeah. So can I create that by putting people on a journey to really meet the world's people? Yeah.
I think just like it's great for storytelling as well. Like, I mean, if you just want to like live like the one with the Egyptian Revolution, if you could talk to survivors, or you can talk to, veterans or whoever, just getting like a story, like, you pay like $20 for like a book or something. So,
totally.
So, I mean, let's just get a story and go home. And it's like 100%. So intimate, so one-on-one. And
so intimate.
do you plan to also sort of do like group session sort of a thing as well?
Yeah.
How are you going to do that?
Yeah. So Pick My Brain allows you to package and price your knowledge in a wide variety of ways. One-on-one is where we started, but you can also do one-to-many offers. So one of the first one-to-many offers I offered that unlocked $12,000 for me, which I took and immediately went to New York for a month, was a one-to-many offer. And I was like, okay, let's see if I can sell a one-to-many offer. And I packaged Bitcoin had just come out. And I was an investment banker before I was a startup founder. And so I got really interested in it. But I noticed that all my girlfriends were not investing. It's a very male-dominated world. And I realized after talking to some of my really smart girlfriends, like, why aren't you investing in this new world? It was because the language that was being used and the brand was very male and gamer-like. So it just turned them off.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I packaged an offer called Bitcoin from a woman's perspective. I charged $75. It was a 3-hour class. I promised to share the vision, the mission, the application, the modeling. I mean, even the model of how Bitcoin was built is like in and alone fascinating. Yeah. And you should know about it. And I wanted these women to at least have enough knowledge to be at the table of this new thing that was coming out that, I want their opinion and their perspective and to feel like they can have an engaging conversation. So I offered this 3-hour class, charged $75 and just invited my community and ran 2 sessions, all through Pick My Brain. So yeah, you can definitely do one-to-many offers, and looping back to your insight about how important stories are. I love that. I imagine, even just buying like any one story. Like you can book a Pick My Brain session, you can book a mentoring session, or you can just book let me sit and listen to you tell your story.
Yeah.
And you could do that one-to-many. So someone like a Holocaust survivor, which we have on the platform, I could see her every Friday at noon if you want to drop in to hear her account, her reflections on living through something like that. Multiple people around the world could sit. They'd listen for the first 30 minutes, and then the next 30 minutes would all be questions.
Yeah.
And $20 each. She has 10 people in the room. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So how much do you charge for on the platform? How much do you keep for yourself?
Like on my profile or Pick My Brain?
No, on Pick My Brain.
On Pick My Brain.
Yeah.
So on Pick My Brain, you can build a free profile. Everyone who wants to sell or share their knowledge can build a free profile. And that'll give you access to offer one free offer and one paid offer from our template library. Okay, so you can sell a $75 Pick My Brain call, a $75 mentorship session, $150 private session. That's your options. And we keep 20%.
Okay.
If you upgrade to the paid model, you can unlock and charge and make any offer that you can imagine and tap into our catalog of higher ticket offers. And that's $30 a month. And then that transaction comes down to $10.
Okay.
And so our thinking there was Shopify, huge store that allows you to build e-commerce platform. Well, Pick My Brain just allows you to build a knowledge commerce platform. So that's kind of how Pick My Brain works on the B2C side. And then on the B2B side, anyone who wants to build a marketplace. And I'm starting to be like, you guys, if you know 100 really cool people, you can run a marketplace.
Yeah.
And so we charge less of a rate depending on how big your marketplace is. And the person who's running that marketplace gets to keep the cut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. It's absolutely wonderful. So I think so what are your plans for the future? Like I understand that you are giving away free calls and everything, but where do you see this eventually? Because I see a lot of ideas from Amazon. You want to do Shopify as well. You want to do so much. Where do you see it?
Yeah. So I do see the end result of this Amazon-sized marketplace, right? In just the size that knowledge commerce becomes as normal as e-commerce. I think knowledge commerce is going to grow really fast in the next 10 years. So definitely want to facilitate that. I also want to motivate 1 million accomplished, experienced professionals to gift 10 hours of their time to the system a year. Because I think giving back first is it's just such a good model.
Yeah.
And then I want to aggregate and grab all that and invite the world to book it so they get hooked. So yeah, I again, the goal is 10 million conversations a month, which means I need 1 million people booking 10 calls or 10 million people booking one call.
Yeah.
How am I going to get there? So this partnership model that we're starting is onboarding the universities. So we go to these universities and we say you should onboard your alumni and give your students access. And, we just landed a few universities in Canada, the US, and now we're talking to Nest University in Pakistan, IBA, Superior University. And the alumni network is 30,000 to 100,000 deep.
Yeah.
So that isn't, we get 3 universities, that's 100,000 people times 10 hours. That's 1 million hours right there.
Yeah.
The second, so that's the pool, right? This big marketplace that just keeps getting more and more interesting people. And I imagine the PR headlines of Pick My Brain being Pick My Brain just onboarded again, the world's Olympians. Did you know you can book in a world Olympian now?
Yeah.
Pick My Brain just onboarded the world's PhDs. Hello world, did you know you could hire a PhD?
Yeah. Basketball players, football players.
Whatever. Yeah. And then that subscription on the other side, that Meet the World's People subscription, I want 1 million people on it. I want it to become the next masterclass. I want it to be just as, maybe not as popular as Netflix because that's too big, but, a subscription, Audible even, just this really normal thing that if you love traveling the world, you love meeting new people, here's a subscription that's just going to like help you do it.
Yeah. I think it's great. I think with how we've seen the creator economy grow, I think it's high time that even when I'm running this podcast, but there are like maybe 10, 15, 20 podcasters in Pakistan, maybe 50, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I have no connection to them, right? And I really wanted to ask questions like, what does your YouTube ad revenue look like, or how long did it take for you to scale, or whatever? And I don't have access unless So like anyone who's a small creator can ask a big creator what worked for you, what didn't, and all of that. I mean, you do get YouTube videos for that, but I mean, why not getting from the person's mouth? Or maybe just say, okay, have a look at my channel.
If point some things out. What do you see?
Exactly. Yeah. So there are a lot of use cases in every field essentially.
Yeah.
And it's what consulting looks like essentially in a way.
Yeah.
Consultants would otherwise charge thousands and thousands of dollars or rupees or whatever you want to call them. But in this case, it might still be cheaper, like to getting access to that person. And the access is the main problem, I think, in Pakistan, especially unless you belong from, one of the connected families or, one of the 1% or whatever, you don't have access to all of these great people and all of that. So I think, it's brilliant.
100%. I really, truly believe that all the solutions exist. It's just the distribution of those solutions that does not exist. And I mean, we're seeing, right? YouTube did allow us to like illuminate those stars that are just sitting, in faraway places. But accessibility. So Google's mission was to make the world's information more open, available, and accessible to society. PickMyBrain's mission is to make the world's people more open, available, and accessible to society. And you're right in that the price is going to be less because it's a passion-driven marketplace. It is not a consulting marketplace. It is like, what do you love? What do you want to share? What have you done? What are you in love with? What do you want to pass back down? And so people typically charge, just enough to like manage their energy. And this is why 100% of the people I've asked have said yes, because you can put boundaries on your time. You want to give just 10? Cool, I'll take it. You want to hit 1,000? Cool, I'll amplify you. You want to unlock $1,000 offer? Cool, let's do it. $5 offer? Great. Whatever you want. But and shopping passion-driven offers, and allowing someone, right? Purchasing a passion-driven offer allows someone to monetize something that they're passionate. It's like, it's really different shopping a passion-driven offer than something that wasn't derived out of resilience and creativity and love. So I always say like $1 spent on marketplace, like PickMyBrain's marketplace the impact of that dollar goes a long way. It's really high vibe money.
I think these are all the questions that I had. I think you've done pretty amazing. And I was already in awe of the platform, so I might sound like a fanboy.
I love it.
But thank you so much for coming and for taking out the time in your very short trip to Islamabad. And I hope that whenever you do come back to Islamabad, we meet up.
Yes.
And like not in a formal way, but just conversations essentially.
Well, I'm so grateful to be on your podcast and be invited to your home. That's just like so fun. I am going to make sure you build a profile so that after when you post this episode, both of our profiles are available for any of the listeners who might want to follow up. And then I'm going to extend and be like, let's think about a model where everyone you interview, we might be able to whip them up a profile as well. Because that's another way. I'm like, there's other ways podcasters can monetize. They got to get creative about it. And Yeah. I think imagine when you have 1,000 guests someday, you could have a marketplace.
Yeah.
Did you know that when you listen to my podcast, you could talk to anyone that I interview as well? Well, that's powerful.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And take care.
Thank you.